Here you go. I'll help you with the others if you want. I'll help too.
Don't let me.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay, cool. Close the windows. This is all part of the
This is all part of the study room experience.
Alright. Frogneck Jamjar. Let me know what happened, Frogneck Jamjar.
So, Frothy is going to stick around with the rest of the Bloodhawks and clean up and do as much as they can to help in the immediate aftermath. And then once that all is done, they are not going to give their goodbyes, but more of a kind of they're parting and with the expectation that they will be around. And so Frothy, with the 50,000 gold that they picked up, first, okay, so they do ask around the mages in the party, where if there is a way to preserve their life.
You do get a couple answers, one of which I'm pretty sure you already know.
And then with this information, they now know the resources they need. So with the gold that they picked up, one of the resources they need is. Do you want me to just list this off, or should I just like?
Just stop.
Okay, yeah. So one of the resources they need is a tower composed of diamond, emerald, ruby, and sapphire dust with at least 5,000 gold.
You can get that.
Yeah, figured it out. It's easy to get. They also need someone who is able to cast this spell, Sequester.
What level spell is it?
It's a 7th level wizard spell.
Even if he doesn't take it, if Ambrose doesn't take it,
I
you can find the actual spell scroll and help him learn it.
Yeah. It was that, or with this plan in mind, they were going to take the rest of the gold and build a monastery dedicated to a moon deity, somewhere isolated but not unreachable, and meant to like train monks of all kinds, but more focused on this moon deity, and potentially, if they couldn't get someone within the party to help them with this spell, train a magic user to learn it from like.
I think if it's a wizard spell,
Okay.
as long as Ambrose is willing to assist you in this.
Which spell is it again?
Sequester.
Sequester. Let me look.
I have it right here. If you want to look at it.
Yeah, let me take a look at this.
In a way.
It's cryo.
Can you describe this to me in character so that I know
Okay,
what
so
I'm
going to Ambrose, I'm going to you especially because you are familiar with extending life, I assume, to some extent.
Yeah.
Life and death.
Mostly in the necromancy.
Yeah. So I bring this to him and I say, so can you learn this spell? I would like to live longer than normal, but I don't need to be around the whole time.
May I ask why?
Personal reasons.
I'm going to need a little bit more of that.
Out of character. Ken. Is there any significant celestial event pertaining to the moon within the future? Any?
Probably, yeah.
Can you? Is there one that Frothy would know
Not
of?
off the top of my head.
Okay.
But there are probably several. Yes.
I'm going to say that I really didn't think this out too well, but I want to be asleep until the next. I don't know the lore here, but the next.
Eclipse.
Not eclipse.
That's too
some
short.
some super major moon.
Some kind of planetary alignment.
Yeah,
probably.
the next major planetary alignment, I guess.
Okay.
Interesting.
And yeah,
Is that all? Or do you have a specific reason as to why? Or is that personal as well?
I feel a connection to the moon, even though I am unsure of what that is still. But I feel this is significant.
I will do this for you on one condition. I request that you do my ranks.
And what ranks are those?
The ranks of the new rebuilt empire. We are long on our way to rebuilding what was left in shambles, and I hope one day that we can restore the glory of Iros to whatever way, shape, or form of glory that they take.
I agree to that, although I should remind you that under normal circumstances, I only have a normal halfling lifespan. So,
Well, if you are still around and ripe enough age to help in any way, after your long, how long again do you expect to be? away?
uncertain at this
It's
time.
called a conjunction.
Uncertain.
What?
It's called a conjunction.
Conjunction? Okay.
Just say the next conjunction where
The next
all planets
conjunction.
align.
Yeah.
Then, if you are still around, then your debt will be fulfilled if you live in any particular way that is noteworthy in our history.
Okay.
You have a deal?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. With that in mind, I am going to continue working on my plans in the monastery. And this monastery, just I should mention, is again mainly focused on worshiping this moon deity, but also it serves as a potential sanctuary and like kind of monument to the blood box away. So I will say I'm going to dedicate a specific room within this sanctuary that has like a mural or some sort of like carving of the final battle of the blood box.
Hey, you look dramatic and sexy. It's fine.
Yeah. And that is kind of just there as like a reminder, because I anticipate this monastery to survive a long time unless yeah. So yeah. In terms of the monastery, that's I kind of use that as like my off. That's what I'm doing in my off time, but I am still around to help the rest of the Bloodhawks in rebuilding the Empire, and any of these duties. So until that point that I need to be sequestered.
So, how, if you would mind, how does it look as you're sequestered?
So with the sequester it says the target becomes invisible and can't be targeted, etc., etc. They are in a state of suspended animation, so time ceases to flow. As long as I'm not hit by anything or not damaged during this state, I can stay in this state for the given amount of time. So
Is this built as a shrine? Is this built as a secret area?
yes, so I'm thinking there's going to be a secret room in the back of the monastery where I will be placed.
As you are finally sequestered away, the last thing you see is Emberos, a little older, as he finishes up this spell, is there any last words shared between the two of you as you are preparing yourself for whatever's to come next?
You're sure about this, correct? Yeah, you won't be able to see any of us for however long you're stuck. Until you eventually are released from the spell.
I had a good run.
You are a strange fellow. But there's someone there. I bid thee farewell. Good travels. And he just does a spell thingy and whatever. I can't talk, Regal.
Raises the staff and slams it down, and a almost magical circle envelops you. It begins to peel away from the floor, and this magical bubble begins to swirl around you, almost like a moon. As your last thoughts and sight is of that floating bubble.
He just exists.
I love the idea of like higher ups in the monastery, like, all right, you're the next higher up. So that's the body room. Don't go in there. You might knock him over and do some damage.
He'll wake up eventually.
Out of context,
Someone like is sweeping around there at someone's job. It's your job to avoid that at all costs.
It's definitely under like a caution
out of
tape.
context, I would have given a specific date, but I don't know, and you don't know when this
Well,
that'll be a
here's-
conversation we have later.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
the spell says things like when the Tarrasque awakens. So you can
Yeah.
be like when all the planets in the solar system align in conjunction plus the moon.
Yeah.
It's just a being that's going to be in the
So
world.
at some point,
yeah,
Yeah.
it could be
He's-
thousands of
he's-
years, it could be a couple
Millions.
decades, I don't know.
He also can't end the spell himself. So it has
someone
to trigger.
either has to break it or it has to trigger. So
Crazy.
I also
Roll a
in
percentile dice to see.
monastery, like how much you have to get trained to lead the monastery, janitor, lower people so they don't accidentally poke Frothy and do 1 bludgeoning damage.
Did I mention that this monastery is a I mentioned it's a sanctuary to the Bloodhawks and Allies. And that does not just extend to the Bloodhawks' own lifetimes, that it extends for however long their influence lasts. So
alright. Gideon.
Oh, hey buddy. Here we go.
Do I just start or?
Nice shit. Good shit.
it was very last minute, but yeah, thank you.
I guess the first thing this is gonna happen, like the first engage. He's gonna go back to that lair. He's gonna grab some lava to put some fucking powers, and he's gonna find some room in the castle and store it there. He's just gonna make sure the lava stays there. And while the group is still around, he's gonna help with the reconstruction. He's gonna help Ambrose with whatever he wants during that. He's gonna help the party at Osen with the refugees. Gideon does not want to make the same mistake he made ever so long ago. He doesn't want to forget his friends, his family. He's gonna spend as much time as he can with them. He has the reserve of the Empire fucking zombies for brains, and he hopes Ambrose will let him use that. He's gonna help Ambrose, Eleanor, with their kingdom. He's gonna take his advisor role very seriously.
Buddy.
And he's gonna go to the party members eventually and ask a big favor. He's gonna go to them and say, including Zilbath, I know that we've been through a lot, and if there's one thing that I want to ensure, it's that we're all happy and that peace will stay. I want to install a network of some kind. A network that its job will be to find the remnants of Empire people, find remnants of mind flayers and monsters, and keep track of them and report them and deal with them. If you all allow for this, then I'm happy with that. If you don't want the spies in your hometown, I think that's totally reasonable too. I think it's only fitting that they're named wraiths, if that's alright. And I want to ensure that I don't want to mess right now. I don't want violence right now. I just want peace for now. And he's going to spend a long time with just his friends. He's not going to focus on blood and war while most of his friends are alive. He will build this network, but he's not going to do anything violent yet. He's going to spend a lot of time with Jasper. He's going to spend a lot of time with Phantomius, Ambrose, everybody. And once Jasper's gone, then he's gonna return to where he went, where he put that lava pool. He's gonna go to there where he has a map of all of these monsters that he's been keeping track of. He's gonna take out that mercury stone, and he's gonna stand beneath a large plaque engraving of a poem he wrote so fucking long ago that only was translated by the Dynasty members, and he didn't even know what it fucking read anymore. The poem that read, to walk across a field of grass, to see the land now made of glass, where black rock climbs to touch the sky, where Vitala used to shine. Oh, fuck me!
Oh,
I said I wasn't gonna cry. Thank you.
Dude, I hope Brendan's holding up well, dude. I don't want to
cry while I'm driving.
Yeah, what the fuck? He's gonna cry. He's gonna cry while he's driving. He's gonna crash.
To hear the minstrels sing their song, to see them dance all night long, like little ants, they were so small. A child's shadow now burns the wall. Quiet is the night when no one cries, and quiet ships circle through the skies. But quieter still is cold Vitala. There's a list of names: Lori, Gilgamesh, Gorge, Iris, more and more until Rory, Hamar, his party members. He has loose drawings of everyone he cared about there. And as he stands above this lava pit, holding this mercury sending stone that he's carried since the beginning, he transmits one message. 25 words. I have not forgotten your name, and you will never forget mine. You will learn to curse it, for Gideos is dead. My name is Gideon. He drops it in the lava before it even fucking responds. He thinks back to that fucking time in the cave. The time his sister saved his life. And he looks at that fucking wall with all of those mind flares and Empire people scattered on them. I'm ready for violence again. And whoever is still alive, after who fucking knows how long, he'll ask for their help, but he will not push their hand. And he will do whatever he can, and I don't know what his ending is. I don't know if he succeeds. I'll leave that to you.
Oh my god, Kobe.
Holy shit,
What?
Kobe!
Beautiful.
Please send us that poem. Please send us that poem.
Fucking hate you. Take it when I say I didn't trust you. He is a fucking challenge. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Go for it.
Leave it to Kobe, man. Jesus Christ.
By the way, I wrote that poem before I fucking joined this game. I
Wait,
gave that to
was that a
Jen.
part of your fucking 8-page thing?
Remember that piece of
Yeah, it
paper I
was.
had in my robe and I gave to the
Yeah.
dynasty at the
Oh
end?
my
The
god.
this first session, I remember I think it was fucking Jasper who walked in on the room and said, "Is that porn?"
Yes. It was porn all along, Jasper.
God, I hate you.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
Oh man. What a way to go out. Fucking Gideon, man. Long may he
love-
reign.
Gideon's my favorite character now. Just cemented him. as
Gideon's my favorite, man. Oh my god.
It's all past me.
I knew it
Oh,
was a
here,
race.
take the fucking box, Addie.
I haven't been able to cry yet. Like
Good for
physically.
you.
No, like
I'm
I've
sorry.
been, like I've done it a bit, but like it takes a lot for me to really get it.
Who's next?
Oh my god.
Yeah, who's next, Kenny? We're 5 out of 9.
happens to Gideon?
We'll see. 5 out of 9, man.
I got plans.
What's going on?
So,
4 more.
Jasper.
Oh, fuck. Well, I'm out. Here we go, man.
Okay. You suck.
Don't worry, you get your revenge now.
Ah,
You get your revenge.
bitch. Okay, here it is. I think the couple days after were rough. She knows the impact of what she's done, not only on Kalaris, but on this entire community of people. And she takes that 50,000 gold, leaves pretty shortly after, maybe 2 days. She doesn't stay for long. Takes that 50,000 gold, brings it to Trelic, gives it all to him. Saves a little for herself, I guess, but she said, I gotta do a thing for a bit, but I'll be back. There's just a slice out of her, like she's looking for something. And after that, you guys don't hear from Jasper for probably a year. But you hear stories. This white demon defeated this evil gang leader and left him staked up on a wall. This white flash destroyed a gelatinous cube, terrifying a small village.
She's a folk hero.
You just hear stories of things here and there. Jasper just helping people. And eventually she starts to track down any Empire, what's it called? People that were for the Empire.
Loyalists.
Loyalists, thank you.
Remnants.
She starts tracking down every loyalist she can find. And
she
at
do
this,
this on her own or
at this
with
point-
Gideon?
at this point, actually, she'd reach out to Healy. She talked to her briefly before they left, just letting her know that she's gonna be gone for a bit, but she asks Healy to help her kill the bastards.
It takes a little bit, but eventually she does agree to help you for a time.
For a time, the sister duo takes on the world. And I do remember you saying in Eleanor's story that the city of Tulog was held by the Empire, or at least the Empire people for a bit.
It was for a time, yeah.
When did that fall?
That would have fallen maybe a few years after Aegor's fell, and it wasn't doing good after that. It was probably bound to fall, and it was no surprise to anyone that it fell.
I think you guys hear from her every once in a while. She says she's alright. She's doing good. She will stop by and visit Gideon, but the rest of you don't really hear from her much. But I'm sure Gideon shares what she's up to. She leaves little treasures for all of you. This beautiful, beautiful obsidian necklace for Eleanor. This nasty looking dagger for Helias. It's got like serrated.
Oh, I know who this is for.
She leaves a little rock for Lex. A kind of petrified flower to Osen. She found this really weird looking rat that like died and kind of shriveled up, and she left it for Emperors. Make something out of this.
Yeah! Exactly it. Oh my god.
Make something out of this.
It is like
Fucking pate.
It's gross.
Pate.
It's like it's pate. I think she also leaves some fun rocks for Frothy, maybe some moonstones.
I forgot to mention something. The brass knuckles, they're on display within the room that he's preserved in.
Those go missing.
You wait.
Those go missing.
Yeah.
She needs
I'm
them.
not worried about it.
I'm not worried about anything.
And Gideon just always gets stories from her. And eventually, after about, say, 2 years, she shows up on Kalaris' doorstep. Who is probably doing some odd job.
Probably at this time, yeah.
She'll walk in, unannounced, just to see what's up. She probably spied on her for a couple days, like a fucking
Oh,
creep.
yeah.
Just to make sure she wasn't, like, married to someone else or, like, some weird shit.
She doesn't look like she's moved on. You, just from looking on every now and then, it looks like she's tried, but nothing's stuck.
I think when Jasper felt like the time was right, he'd show up one day. She'll knock on the door.
After a moment, the door opens up.
Hey,
Hi.
how you been?
Good. She's different.
How's everything going?
It's going.
Just like curiosity, can I tell what job she's been doing?
Currently, she's been working as.
What's the NPC's name?
Yeah, let's say she's working as a cobbler.
That sounds like a fucking Kalaris thing to
Doing
chat.
rocks?
Covered in shoelace glue.
Shoes.
That's what a cobbler is?
Yes!
Shoes. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I'm kind of just looking for something that isn't hurting anyone. I guess. It, of course, comes up. It's a useful skill to have, but it's. I've been there for too long, and it's not good as I am as these other things. I enjoy being not good at them, rather than being good at hurting people.
Yeah. I think I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm also sick of hurting people. Can I come in?
Of course.
I think they catch up.
She lets you in. Are you keeping up a more regular relationship?
I'd like to.
I think you've kept up long enough. She has gotten to the point where she has forgiven you. You've ultimately, she understands what you did or why you did it. There is a level of trust that will never be regained. But it gives you time to build something new. And however you would like to take that, I think she is willing to start over.
I think Jasper would really like it if they started over. And I think after talking to Kaylara, she kind of decides that she's ready to stop traveling the world and killing bastards. As things slowly start to grow between them, I think eventually they'd fall in love. It's a quiet type of love. It's very subtle. They never tell any of you. You guys all know because it's obvious, but they never we're married. It's very quiet.
I fucking knew it.
And I think around this time, Gideon, how late did you establish the rates?
It'd probably be fairly soon after the reconstruction. I'd say probably closer to when Eleanor and Burroughs really started getting a foothold.
I think Jasper's gonna show up one day on Gideon's doorstep as well and be like, "The fuck you doing? You start a spy organization without me?"
Did you not get my sender? Did it go?
It's fine. I was probably sleeping. Anyways, the rates, really? You gotta steal my thing?
I thought it would be a nice gesture.
It's a little nice. Okay. Anyways, Jasper, with the combined efforts of Gideon's rates and Treylick's power, begins to establish the most feared and powerful mob organization you have ever fucking seen.
Yes.
For those who have seen the Blacklist, she is on the charismatic, terrifying level of Raymond Reddington. She will travel to different towns and gain influence. Most leaders will know her name. Jasper, who has eyes everywhere. Jasper, who sees all. And she starts to build this mob of loyal followers with her high-level rates who are trained in blind combat.
Oh, yes.
Given the stick technique. No, do it again.
Oh, my God.
And she starts to establish this army of those who do good, who find the evil hidden things in dark, scary caves. She supports them. And eventually, when Treylick does pass, she'll take on his role as the leader of his clan? Mob. She's prominent, but starts to live a quieter life. Still, the occasional combat. I think eventually she'd convince Kaylaris to marry her, live with her for a bit. And eventually I think she'd ask her to have her hand in marriage.
I think she would accept that.
It's quiet. No one's invited. It's just us. We go to some random spot in the woods and a pretty grove. I think we choose to have a peaceful life amidst the chaos of my own, but I think for most of Jasper's late adulthood, she's just trying to make right in the world. And she'll see all of you occasionally. She starts becoming prominent in your lives again after some time. You guys can tell that some stuff happened, but you know, she's there to raise and help raise your children. You fight with Brendan after maybe 5 years. Those brawls begin every year. I'd say the wins are 50-50. It changes, right? Please tell me she doesn't lose every time.
She definitely doesn't lose every time.
Do that stuff though?
But-
Did she ever battle?
What was that,
Does
Brendan?
she ever battle?
Battle who?
I think you just asked if she ever battles.
I don't know if Kalaris would.
I think Kalaris she hasn't stopped honing her skill, but it's been a very long time since she's actually fought someone for real.
Buff housewife.
She has hung up her weapons, but she is very capable of picking up anything and hitting someone really hard on the head with it. She's kind of like your buff bodyguard.
Oh.
Buff wife. Buff
And
wife.
they never adopt kids or anything like that. It's just the two of them. But I think as Jasper gets older, she kind of stops her fighting. She keeps up with her skills. She's an old lady that can kick it. But she starts to play piano more, which is a skill she's had this entire fucking campaign.
We've never got to see
Never!
Kenny.
She
You
is
ass.
a fantastic pianist. She actually has proficiency with it.
What?
And
I didn't do that.
it's in my notes.
I am looking at your notes.
You're so mean.
Not those notes.
It's in my backstory too.
Go on.
I probably read it once.
Boo.
But yeah, I think with all the horrors in her life, she tries painting after Trelic dies to just, you know, remember him. She's horrible at it. She can't fucking do it. She's like, I don't get the stupid fucking colors. Still doesn't, the vision thing's hard, but she takes time to travel and see the most beautiful places in the world she can find, taking a journey with Lex to probably see Aurora Borealis or something beautiful. Yes. And as she gets older, I think one day a little pink tiefling tries to steal her coin purse. And isn't necessarily her daughter, but Jasper brings this girl in. And she exists within the Wraiths and gets trained up. And I think eventually as Jasper's ready to pass on the mantle, this little pink with curled horns that curve down and in, like almost like a heart shape, who looks like the softest little girl you'll ever see, will fuck you up and rip your throat out.
Classic.
And I think that
Amazing.
Trelic would love her. And I think she eventually would be able to take over the clan. And she's tougher than Jasper, by far.
Oh god.
Wow.
I think Jasper's death is quiet. Not necessarily expected, but she lives a long time. She is an angry old lady.
There have been probably several assassination attempts against you.
Oh, a dozen, if not more. For at one point, there was 3 assassins at once who tried to kill her and Kalaris, and Jasper beheaded all 3 in one swipe and stuck their heads outside her house.
Period.
Slay.
Hey, I don't even have to do anything.
Yeah. She's strong, and she maintains that strength into her last day when eventually she just, after Kalaris has died, it's been a couple years, and she just watches. She sees the world just keep going, and eventually it just starts to fade. And one day she goes to sleep, and she doesn't wake up.
Dude.
Come on.
You got your revenge.
I can't do more
You got your revenge, Addie. Oh, damn it.
Who the fuck's
Oh.
next?
And I assume she greets her old friend Loki in the afterlife. Sup, fucker? Or excuse me, sup, fucker? Old lady Jasper.
I think in the afterlife, you could look however you want.
I left your sword to someone else. Good luck. I left it to this pink tiefling. Oh.
That close the book on Jasper's story.
Some fuckers.
Oh,
And she was amazing, and we love her.
we love Jasper.
Oh my god.
Alright.
Fuck.
You got your revenge.
Yep.
Elias.
Oh,
Sylvath.
Hi, Mikey. Oh. Jeez.
Helias vanishes almost immediately after the battle. He kind of bids you all farewell, not forever, just kind of a see you later, and goes AWOL. Not AWOL, MIA for, jeez.
Different than.
Death later. He goes just MIA. And probably the better part of a year or maybe even two, he goes back to that nasty flesh shack that Sylvath built. He kind of looks at it and goes, you know, it's not that far off. I can do something with this. And he personally, over a very long time, makes the shack into a kind of replica of the Talonvane residence where he grew up. And, you know, anyone that attempts to find him can. He's not hiding. But he is doing this for a long time. And when Gideon comes to talk about the wraiths, once Gideon Elias is kind of non-committal, like, I think it's a good idea, you know, I'm not opposed in any way. And then once Gideon leaves, he'll look at Talon, which he has hung on the mantle for a while, and he just kind of says, Talon, you dramatic son of a bitch, no wonder we ended up together. And he picks up his long gun and he goes, all right, Gideon doesn't want blood, let's keep it off his hands. And he heads out. And probably unbeknownst to Gideon, becomes the first wraith. Almost immediately after he leaves.
We definitely run into each other one time.
Oh, yeah. He pretty much has a cycle of research, find, track, kill. People, largely people left over from the Empire. And every once in a while, one of you receives a letter delivered by, of course, a bloodhawk. The first person to be tracked down by my birds is Lex. The letter is simple. It's just kind of along the lines of, I've located someone from the Empire during the fight. They got away via boat. They avoided detection by our naval forces. And according to what I've found, they are on an island. Now, I'd really appreciate a ride. Signed, Helias, and the S at the end of his name is also the H. Also capitalized.
Elias. Our first journey. Our first journey.
Elias.
By the way, that's a trade going back to where.
And he would gladly board a boat and go mess some corrupt Empire official that got out up, gladly with Lex's help. The next person to receive a letter, it took you, how long did it take you before you sequestered yourself?
Until most of the rest of the Bloodhogs have passed away.
Okay.
I assume, yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, perfect. Because I find someone that isn't hiding particularly well, and I develop a plan to not just take them out. I develop I have their blueprints of where they're staying. I have everything. They're super sloppy with it. And Frothy gets a letter delivered by Bloodhawk that is just the blueprints with the most Kevin McAllister Home Alone bullshit you've ever seen. Drawn onto the blueprints. And at the very bottom, it just says, "I'd love some help." Signed, Helias. You know where to find me. Once again, with the big S, Sylvath is still there.
Frothy shows up within a few days, traveling by foot.
I think Frothy, as the second
Someone on the
person-
road sees a essentially sign just going by.
By the
Gotta
way,
go
these
fast.
letters are spaced out by about 6 months. It is only occasionally that he reaches out to his allies for assistance. And Frothy, when you arrive, you see the completed Talonbane residence. I meant to mention this with Lex, but Helias has put his twisted wooden earrings back in Sylvath. And, that was one of the only things that Sylvath just took out. It was unnecessary, but they're back now. When you do this, when you go through with this Home Alone plan, there's an efficiency there. There's, even in situations where something is about to go wrong, there's no hesitation, that double check between two minds that there was. They're working together pretty fluidly now. A duo is up next, as Emberos and Eleanor receive a letter. It is addressed to both of you, and it reads, "I found somebody tinkering with undeath, and I know, Ambrose, that's kind of your shtick, and oddly enough, Eleanor, that's kind of the antithesis of your shtick. So I address this to each of you separately. Eleanor, read this next part. Undeath is fucked up. I would love your help in removing the person that is creating it. Not Emberos. He gets a pass for now. For now. Emberos, read this next part. You got competition, and he's doing some pretty messed up things, so, if you want to do some messed up things back, I ain't gonna stop you this time. And both of you are also invited to the to his home to meet up and then go mess up a nasty necromancer type. Not you're using zombies to build a library, experimenting on how much of someone do I have to bring back? Do I still feel this? Someone of that kind. And once again, there is an efficiency in the fighting that has only increased. Just carnage ensues. And at this point, sometimes in the middle of the fight, you'll see the facial expression change real quick. An action will happen, and then it changes back. And it seems like they're not only working together, but specifically utilizing each other's strengths in different moments.
That's really cool.
We are Venom.
The next to receive a letter is Phantomius. And while I was building the Talonvane residence, or the replica of it at least, I'm also doing research. I don't stop. Specifically researching this deck of cards I've got.
Oh no.
How much can I find out in like a year and a half-ish of like late night reading about the capabilities of the deck of many things?
So
If it's even the deck of many things.
you get the sense that
Oh, I also
There
like,
is-
pay someone to identify this and
there
make sure
is-
it's what I think it is.
no possible way to choose a specific card. You get the sense that the cards have the ability to warp reality, and they have the ability to make or break you.
Yeah. Do I read about the effects of dungeon? The one that traps your soul.
You eventually get to that, yeah.
I find that tidbit of information about a soul being trapped. I stop and I put the deck of many things in an envelope, along with a letter. Ship it off to Phantomius, and he receives. He
Wait, did he just get a card?
no, he gets the deck.
Oh, he gets That's a bad idea.
That's a great idea.
It's fantastic.
There is the letter is largely detailing what they can do and how dangerous it is. And at the end, it says, "You opened the egg. I don't want them. Figure they're yours."
Figure it out.
Did
I said,
it?
"Figure they're yours."
Oh, did it have details in there?
Just kind of. The most of the letter was stressing like, "This is the peak. This is the low. Watch yourself."
Damn.
I assume Phantomius never touches them.
Do you touch the deck of many things ever?
I don't know what the cards are.
That's the point. Do
Yeah.
you or do you not touch them?
The pinnacle is essentially wishes. The epitome,
Lowest is death.
the epitome is worse. It locks your soul in a place that the DM's choosing.
Them, but he probably doesn't use them.
He does not use them.
He probably doesn't use them.
Okay, that's all we need to know.
There's that, and there is also the card that removes all non-magical belongings from you.
Yeah, all
Which
of the
includes your home, it includes your wealth, it includes everything.
Yeah, he's not touching it.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect him to.
Does he keep
I just,
it?
I didn't.
Oh, he keeps it probably. Do you keep it?
Man,
I just didn't know.
that is so
I
disappointing.
think he said he can. What the fuck, Kenny?
Oh yeah, no, I.
Typically just said,
You
what?
think
He has a
You think
physical deck of
Halal-
many things.
you think Helias and Sylvath are gonna read about something that can trap your soul and go, that's a worth it risk at this
Oh,
point.
Bro.
Both your souls.
Yeah, they're sick
The
of
amount
it.
of games I've seen destroyed by that fucking deck.
No, they are sick
Not
of the deck.
now.
Terrifying.
So they get rid of them.
So I'm proud of you for resisting the temptation.
Yeah, no.
I'm this close.
I was so ready for Frothy to get in. I was so excited for you to go first.
yeah.
That is.
You would have been the
yeah,
one to
that's
pull
a
it.
problem for
You
one
would have been the
shot,
one to
so
pull
I'm
the card.
shipping those shits out.
That would have called for like 3
Next.
more sessions.
There are 3 letters delivered at the same time. Now, Lex, Frothy, Ambrose, Phantomius. So it's been about another 2 years. So we're probably 4 years down the line. Jasper, Osin, the combo of Osin and Estrella, though it is addressed specifically to Osin. And Kalyani Talonvane receive letters that are not the coordinates of where I'm currently staying. And the letter simply says, I need some help to cause some pain. It gives, like, there is a date that is not soon. It gives you time to get to me to make a decision. But how do the three of you respond? I know you said it at some point you are sick of hurting people, so...
You probably get some sort of weird squirrel messenger back. It looks a little rabid, but it's also very sweet. It kind of immediately like scuttles up onto you and like gives you a little response like, it definitely looks like it was written by Estrella. I need more details. Osin says we'll be there.
Estrella does not receive more details because Osin being there, Elias just sort of folds up the letter and good enough.
You get no response from Jasper, but she shows up on a couple days
Same
before the
thing
date.
for Kalyani.
Kalyani recognizes this location. That is, when you guys show up, you do not see the replica of the Talonvane residence. You see the Talonvane residence.
And for your information, as this was an encounter I built and it was never used. The Kalyani Talonvane residence, since for a long time, it was taken up by a group of individuals.
Mm-hmm.
The ground around it has been mined, it has been bored into, it has been quarried, and the house stands as essentially a monument and used as personal residence for the owners.
Personal residence for the owners. Perfect. All right. Hi, Mom. Been a while.
Yes,
I didn't.
Why are we here?
I take Talon off of my back, and I pull my coat aside to show that serrated dagger that Jasper left. Getting it back, and you guys bear witness to some of the most brutal killing you've ever seen in your life.
Okay.
So remind me of what the names of these people were. Of the two people.
Leopold Chaterion and Rodolfo
I know
Goodman.
them. I wanted to pull them up in case.
Elias was important.
Yeah, I just wanted
He is
to
important.
see them. There is Rudolfo Glintman, a human, and Leopold Chaterion, an elf. And anyone that works for them is going down too. I'm not being kind. I'm not being a Batman. If you work for these fuckers, you die.
So let me just find something really quick. And who was the other one? I'm sorry?
Rudolfo and Leopold Chaterion.
Let me just find something.
Because Leopold supposedly was killed by my father. Supposedly.
Yes. Leopold is dead.
Ah. Fascinating.
And for the brief amount of time you interact with them, with Rodolfo, Leopold seemed to be more than just friends with Rodolfo. There seemed to be something between them, and it had been eating him up for a long time, and when you finally bust in, when he sees there's no other way out, there's almost a minor relief.
Alright, so I got some got some unfortunate news for you. I'm back. And I throw talent to him, pull out the serrated dagger, and I say, I dare you. And I make it slow.
Oh.
He does try and fail, or maybe he hits you and you just don't care.
He probably hits me a couple of times. I'm not making it efficient.
Yeah. Okay.
And then once this is done, I step out, I look onto the ground around, it's gone.
Make a history check.
Nine.
You're unsure of the significance of this mine without further investigation.
Alright. Jasper, you got us explosives once before, can you do it again?
I brought him.
Perfect.
I could tell.
And I walk through the Talonbane residence.
It's been completely gutted from what you remember, and it's been set up as this Delinquent estate.
Yeah. Alright, let's collapse a mine. You guys up for some explosions?
I think Jasper will please feel the ground. What the fuck is down here?
Just investigating. I won't make you roll for this because we're at the end. This is close to where the mine flares are. And you find in the mine, they weren't mining to get there, they were mining over a very specific and valuable resource that allowed mine flayers to stay alive without consuming brains. There are these gems that allow them to suck out the psionics to stay alive longer. And there's been a large collection of them.
There's not exactly anybody left to maintain them. I assume this information is related.
There is some supplies readily available to you outside of mining it, because this was a mine and they still have some of the supplies if you want to take any of it. But I'll leave that to you.
I think I take a couple of these gems. You know, like not even spending a day's worth of work, probably not even spending a full hour. Just finding what I can, busting off a couple. And then, exactly. I was going to send them all with you.
Yeah.
Gideon. All right.
You're essentially given just for context, you're given a few years worth of free sustainability. So that's essentially emergency food.
Plus the location of where more is, if you need it, with the understanding that it's under a lot of dirt. Because I look up at the Talonbane residence. Wow. Thought for a long time to get it back. Not much point now there, is it?
It's just a house.
Exactly. And I detonate any explosives that Jasper brought, and the mines and the house are gone. And once again, when you guys saw Halia Silvath fight, it was truly truly fluid. Like you hear like calling out, "Watch out over there! Get down!" Like it is shifting rapidly. They are. It might as well be having two people there just sharing a body. Yeah, that's why the S is capitalized.
I'm
It's so
stupid. I realized it. I did.
I don't.
Oh,
The S is capitalized for
So
Sylvia.
odd.
Oh no, I knew that.
I
Which
did.
worked out wonderfully.
Your
for
ocean is
YS.
showing.
Yeah, your
But-
ocean's showing.
Elias.
Your ocean showing?
Oh my god! I love you. I love you. So mean of me.
Elias
Very in
Ah.
character.
once again goes radio silent for a little bit. And eventually, when all is said and done, the shack over years is made to look more and more like the Kalyani residence, or the Talonvane residence. And when I don't think that Helias's life is prolonged indefinitely by undeath. I think it gives him a little bit of an extra kick, though. So, after attending a couple of funerals, and upon Gideon's arrival at his place, post Jasper, you arrive at a place where the flesh has been completely replaced. There is a fenced-in area with some animals, and just beside the house there are two headstones which read Farlow and at this point Kalyani. And when you say you're ready for violence again, Elias. Good. And Elias will gladly assist Gideon for quite a few years, I think, serving as something close to a general, kind of. Someone close to you, still willing to listen, and is always willing to go on a solo mission for you. But eventually, Elias looks at you and says, this body didn't have forever in it. And I think I'm ready to go home. So good luck with whatever else you have. And I truly hope, I really do, you find what you're looking for. And he returns to, I imagine there's somewhere in these medieval times where the death penalty exists, right?
Yeah.
He just goes to some town square. Can I have everybody's attention?
What are you doing?
I am Elias Talonvane, and also Sovath. I am guilty of over 100 counts of murder,
No way!
and I am well aware that the penalty for this is death. I plead guilty.
Literally suicide, like.
No, dude.
And 2 days later, he is publicly hanged.
Bro.
Yo.
Wow. Smoother than that.
Son of a bitch.
I was given this at midnight.
Really?
And
Mikey.
So 7 minutes ago?
A long time ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
takes a couple years, but anyone that still remains gets a letter from a Bloodhawk that just says, "Just kidding, you know where to find me." I've got a couple things I can do that I can survive a hanging.
Everything.
False life. I can do this thing with my birds. I have. If you need actual, like, mechanically how I plan to survive this, I can explain it.
If you'd like to.
I wear baggy clothes, including gloves and boots, and I shift before it's done, so my face looks. I really focus and shift as much as I can, and get as close to a Bloodhawk as I can. And when I'm hung, I use an ability that presumably by this point I have leveled up at least once. That I can disincorporate into my swarm and reappear somewhere else.
Dude!
So, my baggy clothes, gloves, and boots fill with Bloodhawks, including one whose face is peeking out of the hood. So there's now just a bunch of clothes full of birds. And I am naked under the gallows.
Wow.
I use my nature's veil to turn invisible, and I'm out. And
Do the
those,
clothes just fall?
they're full of birds. Like packed to the brim, to the point like they're suspended there by the sheer amount of birds that are in there.
And I think with that, you receive a message from Elias saying, "Just kidding." But in that time, you do hear that Elias has died, but no body was ever found. I think that's where Elias' story is going to come to an end.
Yeah.
For now.
For now, yeah.
Dude. Oh my god. Fucking emotional roll.
Fake's own death.
Fakes.
Two more, y'all. Just two more.
What do we got?
Ambrose.
Oh.
This is agonizing.
Alright, Joe.
No.
The tears commence.
Okay. So. Fuck. Shit.
Are you gonna drink the juice?
Starting off, we're gonna pick up like immediately after he pulled Kanan's body out of the freaking lava. He's gonna real quickly check if there's anything important on him that might still be intact, like any particular things.
The armor has been partially melted.
Partially melted.
He had a shield and a sword. Those also were lost in the lava, unless you want to sift through, in which you can find parts of the melted shield. The sword probably at this point is well gone.
He is gonna keep basically all of Kanan's belongings as like some fucked up trophy and just meld it all together.
Nice.
Make good house decoration.
Very good house decoration. How is the horde doing at this point?
The horde was redistributed, part of it to the dynasty. Some of it went missing due to probably Fae activity.
That's expected. Like how much of it
But about maybe, after you took all your share, about maybe 10 million went to your new government. That would be yours pool and share outside of the 50,000 that each of you took.
Okay. How are the Sorry, you're talking about the gold horde, not the zombie horde, right?
Oh, gold horde.
The gold horde. Okay, that's good. How are the zombies looking? How is their status with collecting materials?
You did bring a lot, just hiding a lot of it.
Yes.
There's no shortage of corpses. There's a lot from the Empire. Once they clean that out, there's the lake. Once you clean that out, there's the Wisp Slayer. So there's no shortage of corpses. You can visit battlefields, pick up the corpses. There's really no shortage of dead.
I'm going to have them basically all pile it in like the front courtyard of the castle. And I'm going to wait in the throne room and sort of call the rest of the Bloodhawks in if they are willing. So, whoever is willing to come and talk, let's
How many
talk.
days after?
Yeah, when is this?
This is the same day.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ambrose,
There aren't a crazy amount.
there aren't a crazy
Because
amount.
it's going to take you a very long time to raise them all.
Yeah.
You essentially have a workshop full of rotting corpses.
Yes. Well, it's technically the
And
courtyard.
that builds up over a long period of time.
Yeah. And any of the ones that are no longer doing things and have taken all this other stuff that they can, I want them to like basically make sure that no one else gets into the castle just yet. They're not trying to kill anybody, but they're not letting them in. Ambrose, once the Bloodhawks have sort of meet together, he's going to very slowly take a breath and stand somewhat on the stairwell of the throne and just sort of address everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming here one final time. I know we've fought long and hard, and we've lost a great many those close to us, some of us. I want to make a proposition to each of you. A proposition to build something greater than ourselves. I believe that if we were to pool our resources and in some ways reclaim the shambles of this broken city, we could make something truly beautiful. Something that could withstand even ourselves throughout history. I feel like if we work together, we could amass a force that could create a life-standing peace to keep another Red Emperor rune from ever rising from the ashes to cause havoc on the world. However, this will take time and sacrifice. I understand if you wish to go on to your own lives, and I will grant you that permission to do that, if you so choose. However, if you wish to join me, I would gladly accept. If you do not see me as fit to propose this to you, I will also accept that. However, I deeply prefer that we keep the combat to a minimum. And Ambrose is just going to get up onto the throne. A long time ago, when we were in a model place like this, I heard something. A phrase that called to me from an unknown source. I'm not sure where. The words of purpose and potential came to mind. And I feel like where we stand now as the Bloodhawks, we could reach that great potential. And I ask each and every one of you to stand by my side in creating this new I'm not quite sure what to call it yet. But I know it's going to be spectacular. So, and Ambrose just holds his staff down and makes his sit that he did before. Any takers?
Osmo slowly raises his hand.
I accepted fucking ages ago.
Jasper gives a little, puts you off, raises her hand.
Yes. Oh, did you want to say something, or were you simply flipping me off?
She just stares blankly. God, you're an idiot.
What?
Raising my hand. I'm saying I'm in. I'm down.
Oh, you're in?
Yes!
Oh, thank God. Apologies. It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
What could be worse than killing a dragon? What could be worse than fighting a dragon?
Oh, I can tell you what's worse. An army of mind flayers. That would be worse.
Shut the fuck up.
Of course. We'll get there.
I'll be dead by then.
Frosty just gives 2 thumbs up.
Of course, I want our operations to remain completely independent. Well, not completely independent. I want to remain within close alliances to our neighboring nations, but I also want us to have our own independence. If you all do not have any qualms with that, then that is how we will proceed. And I'm just gonna do you have any lingering questions or requests of me at all?
So what do we do first?
Well, first things first, we must first start on rebuilding the city and corralling what little people are alive to safety while we can. I've already sent my forces to save what little people we can from the Fae and corral them into a location where they can easily be accessed by the dynasty's troops. I want to task each and every one of you with helping me in saving as many as we can. I know not a lot of you people are from the Empire, but this is my home, and I want to, in some ways, show it the respect that it never showed me, in a way. We need to earn these people's trust if we are going to move forward. So let's do this. And he is going to rise up, sort of think to himself about those words that were said to him. Maybe if whoever said that thing to him says something back, he'll respond, but he's going to keep going and trying to rebuild Agros and corral the Fae to a place where people aren't affected.
Rebuilding Agros is a big undertaking, and it is difficult. Agros seems actively pushing itself to becoming a ruin. But with your magic, you're able to almost contain the Fae energy into a singular part of the city. It's unable to be moved to a singular spot, but a whole ward of the city is turned Fae, and it's uncontrollable. However, you are able to build a city around it and contain it, building the outer walls and then an interior wall where the Fae is, almost like an interior jungle on the inside. And you make sure to kill things as least as you can, but just contain it. Oh, also,
yes.
Inara Vespertine comes and asks for her staff back.
She lived?
Yes.
What about the dragon?
Did it live?
Barely.
Barely.
What about the Dark Lotus Key? Sorry.
What? I believe you must be looking. I believe you must be looking for this.
Yes, that. Hello, baby.
Is there any burn marks on it?
You served me well.
Yes, and she scrapes them off immediately.
A little bit of wear and tear, but she served me well. Thank you for your help.
I mean, as long as I got her back, that's all that matters.
Of course.
She's probably useful to you, right?
True. Of course.
Good to hear.
Lots of useful. Anyways, I wish I could have held it for a little bit longer, but I don't want to lie. Anyways, I believe you have something of mine as well.
What did you give her?
The key. We gave her the key.
Oh. She ends up handing you the key after about a day, because she doesn't have it on her. She goes back to where she was researching it, gets it, and returns it to you.
Okay. I sort of asked, like, what she sort of saw in there and, like, how they managed to actually finally release the dragon from there with all the technology and stuff, like, locking him in.
So, it was a difficult release, and they had to plane shift him away out of the key. And she had to manage to release it first. She didn't spend too much time exploring the key, as that would have been a difficult venture in the time period they were given. Discovered a little bit more. One thing she did discover, just sharing the research, and I assume over time you figured this out too. There's a room within the actual key that contains what looks like just a completely ivory white humanoid body. And you find out later that this is a cradle for a god. You find out that this is something that a god, something that is able to take the ability, would be essentially reborn into. There's no research on this. It seems all the research was burned and destroyed, so this could never be replicated. But the notes were left behind to go through this process. You know that if you try, you would not only have your body turn to ash, your soul would cease to exist. Wow. Your soul, your body, need to be fully prepared for this process, and you need to be on the cusp of ascension. This is essentially a ease point to help them ease into it.
Interesting. I'm going to try and keep the information of that room as under wraps as I can. I'm not going to go into that room specifically, but I'm going to leave it safe and secure for a later time if it ever comes into use. Was there anything else in there that was worth noting, or
nothing more than note? It's just
a
essentially
body.
a dungeon.
Wow. Okay. That
is the biggest thing worth note that I can think of.
That is phenomenal. Fantastic. I guess in the days to come, he wants to help. Once things have been rebuilt and the dust is settled, he wants to sort of help with any funeral processions, and as the festival sort of goes on, he wants to also maybe say a few words, if people will allow.
We'll allow you, yeah.
In my time traveling the world, I've seen many things. I've seen life grow in the strangest of places, and I've seen death from the most mundane. It, in some ways, is both terrifying and endearing for a life well lived. I, in my spare time, wrote a passage that I would like to say in terms of the deceased. And I'm going to pull out my poem.
Oh, two poems.
Second poem of the night. Dude.
I should have written a poem.
Me too. Yeah.
I like boobies.
I should have
Roses
made
are
a sea
red.
shanty.
Estrella is blue. I love it.
I wanted to make a sea shanty. I just
That's
didn't
it.
have time.
Blue is cool. Blue is great.
And this just says, I love you.
Yes.
That's the wedding vows.
Blue is cool.
Strauss'
Blue is
favorite color is
great.
green, and Ocean's is blue.
Yes.
That's the wedding vows. Blue is
So
good.
gay.
Blue
So-
is great.
He pulls out his notebook, which he's been writing in. He hasn't been scribbling like a lot of like notes in a while, but he has been focusing a lot on like this poem. And he looks down. We bring to thee thy song of death, that leave all man or beast bereft. Thy song that swallow bird or flower, returning back thine earthly power. Thy rot that run through vine or leaf, shall make thine earthly prescience brief. And in the bite of death and cold, thine traveller find death's gentle hold. Thy song of death, a cack-off cry, shall ring for unto Domesday. And he will let the people have their time before he is going to go off. And in the days to come, he's going to alternate between like helping the people rebuild, expanding his army with the dead that he is allowed to resurrect. He asks for permission after much consideration and deliberation from the people around him, and Eleanor obviously convinces him to try and be a bit more considerate. Yeah.
You don't think Jeremy would want his brother to be alive, wouldn't he, right? He's already dead. Can he just, have some peace?
Fair.
He literally got his dick cut off.
That would be a terrifying sight. I do
Not the
think.
cat, Ambrose. You can't bring back the fucking cat.
No, I'm not bringing up the fucking cat. And he's going to alternate between that and also every now and then he's going to try and study as much as he can, just any bit of knowledge that he can from that Nocturoth manor, as much as he can, so that he can get familiar with the place. It's almost like a second home to him as he moves in and out.
As you'll eventually be level 20.
Yeah.
With Eleanor and probably Lex here and there's help, you're able to clear out the dungeon and essentially make that your own personal wizard's tower.
He's got a wizard team.
Yeah.
You're not able to expand it until you're able to research it heavily, but using just what's there, the first area just is like a whole living space, and you're able to spruce it up pretty nice.
How long?
And turn everything else. It does take a while to do this, but eventually you turn like the laboratories into your own kind of area, and the living space into kind of a second home.
As time sort of goes on and he becomes more adept with magic, I think he wants to like sort of experiment more with like creating stronger undead. He's going to try and basically create his own Sleepless Watch, though they're not going to be called the Sleepless Watch. He's going to call them the Ashen Legion. And he's basically going to appoint specific positions, like whites, which have the ability to create more undead, will be like sort of head officers and whatnot. Certain types of ethereal undead will be like is basically his own sort of sample of spies. Once Gideon creates the wraiths, he'll rely more on the wraiths, but he will also rely on his own forms of undead, which can like move through walls and shit, like ghosts and stuff. So there's that. Eventually, he'll have his talk with Eleanor, and they will have many a date, many a moment with each other. He's gonna take her out to see the fanciest places. Magic will be involved to make them look more pretty, especially in a broken city. Eventually, they'll get married. There's gonna be a lot of very intricate patterns, and green's gonna be a big color at the wedding, as well as black. It's gonna be green and black is the big theme, but people can wear what they want, so y'all can style yourselves up how you will.
Looks like ostentatious red suit.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna basically send an invitation out to like as many
waiting for this moment.
to the Bloodhawks specifically. I don't know if any of you are coming, but do any of you guys come to our wedding?
Is that even a question?
They haven't spotted one shot when.
You get a large procession. A very
I'll be your
large
florist.
I jump scare you at the altar.
What?
How's it going, bud?
Chum. Oh,
Can you stop doing that?
Never.
Oh.
And you get this encounter probably another 20 times.
The stress of organizing this place is stressful enough. Could you please just... Never mind, it's good to see you again. And he goes in for whatever it is, handshake, a hug, whatever the heck you want.
She punches you in the shoulder.
I'll take it. And
It's Jasper's show of affection.
It is.
you just see like the wedding procession that's being manned by a couple of Ambrose's undead. He keeps the undead to a minimum.
Have you
just-
clothed them any?
They're clothed. They are clothed, and they look.
That's not what I mean. Are they clearly undead? Or are they masked up? Or are they?
I leave the more gruesome of them masked up and like have their own like sort of special like.
I
ornate
assume you have
stuff.
some
Toenail's
kind
one
of
of them?
ornate thing.
Toenail's been dead for a while.
Oh, that's right.
Toenail's been dead for a while. I don't think I want to
Bring back Toenail.
I don't think I want to bring Toenail back into this pain. So I'm gonna.
You eventually find the. Where did he go? I think he fell.
Yeah, he fell. He
Off
fell.
a cliff on the mountainside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you eventually. It takes probably maybe a month, but you do eventually scrounge up enough bones to have half of Toenail.
Yes. Yay. And I'll basically try and repair Toenail. It's not going to take that long because I already have a massive sum of corpses and stuff. So I'll have him join the ranks. He'll be like sort of like. He'll be like the guy that sort of like is like the butler that sort of tends the manor in that sort of way.
What do you wear to your own wedding?
You basically okay. I'm gonna pull out because I have a hero forge as well.
Oh, okay, Hero Forge.
It's gonna be kind of like this, but it's also not because he's gonna be kind of changed up a bit. Also, in the span of time when he's like studying in the Nocturne Manor, he wants to try and make his own staff, similar to the one that he saw in his vision, but not completely made of flesh. Also adorned with like interwoven woods, different types of alder wood and whatnot. So
Magic cutting wise, I've told several people this will work personally.
yes.
To do that.
Basically, you see this, though it's more like longer and like it's got a mix of reds and blues.
Oh,
but
man.
yeah, this he's grown out his beard a bit.
Everyone with the beards. God, the time.
It's gonna be like he's gonna be like tied into like neat little
shadow.
braids and like sort of like swirls together.
Oh,
His hair's kind of grown out into like a bit of a
Going
mane.
on.
So he's got like the freaking like Leonidas type look, and it's like super freaking. He's a little bit scruffy, but he's there. He's old, but he's there. And yeah, the wedding, it's amazing because it's really cute.
Oh.
I didn't write a lot of this stuff down, so it's just
Coming up with it
whatever.
on the fly.
So
bet-
Joe,
Yeah.
I have a very important question
What is
that
it?
I think everybody's wondering.
Yes.
Do you become a lich?
I will get to that at the very end.
Okay.
So, as time goes on, eventually, Ambrose and Eleanor, they have children. We have three who are our official birth children. Their names are Vivian Lorita, Ashan O'Hara, Astashen Cyrus, Ember Lucinda. That's our three birth children. And we
Vivian who?
Vivian Lorita.
Loretta.
Loretta.
Since there's that many people, send it to me.
I'm gonna send it to you
We'll send
right
it to
now.
you.
But you can read it off.
We also adopt four people who are like sort of misplaced from the mess that is the Empire. If I can fucking find
I'll read it.
what they. Yeah, you can
Cassius Helias, who is a shifter boy. Ramus Gideon, a half-orc, half-boy human. Sylvia Curie, half-elf, half-tiefling girl. And Riva Elora, a tiefling girl.
Yeah. So that's them. And basically, as time sort of goes on, he sort of makes a name for himself. This big, lengthy title for himself. that just to sort of like up his reputation a bit. It's a long spinning
You should
title.
read it.
I should read it. So what I wrote down, if y'all are hearing this, Ambrose, the Ashen Lord, General of the Ashen Legion, Slayer of the Red Emperor, Keeper of the Emerald Flame, Herald of the Song of Death, the uncrowned sovereign leader of Agros and the Empire.
Titles now. No, I need a title.
And you should read my title that you came up with.
And I came up with a
really
title for
liked
you
it.
too. Eleanor, the Lady of Ravens, Harbinger of the Raven Queen, Bringer of Life and Death, the Severed One, Mother of the Lost Ones, and Herald of Peace.
Okay.
And I basically leave, the way our sort of arrangement works, basically Eleanor is in charge with tending to a lot of the refugees, basically handling a lot of the diplomatic
I'm the
relations.
nation mommy.
She's nation mommy. She's nation mommy. I'm nation daddy.
Mommy sovereign.
Sovereign mommy.
Daddy dignitary.
Daddy dignitary.
Daddy dignitary, yeah. Exactly.
Sequel to
And
Daddy Daycare.
as time sort of goes on, when Gideon proposes the use of the wraiths in hunting down people from the Empire, he sort of proposes to him a method for how they will deal with loyalists to the Empire if they're within the jurisdiction of the Empire. Basically, anyone who still remains within the general Empire orders, who remains a loyalist, will have themselves individually be banished, and any close relatives will be incarcerated. If they continue to have sort of I'm losing my focus when you squeeze me. But thank you, honey, for the comfort. Anyways, so it's okay. I'm sorry. But yeah, where was I?
Loyalists.
Loyalists.
If they continue to be loyal.
If they continue to be loyal, then they will not be punished. Their families will be punished. Though this will be sort of on the down low thing. I'm not going to be as cruel as to say like, oh, we're going to do the exact same thing that
I think
the
we cut
Empire
their
did.
peepees off.
No, we don't cut their fucking peepees off.
What?
Though their situation will get worse. The incarceration is basically more like house arrest at first, but if it gets worse, it's because of them, not because of us.
Can I make a statement about that?
Yes, you may make a statement about that.
Can we just if they are assholes, can we just turn them into zombies? Force them to join the Legion?
Well, I still want to have as many as I can alive. You can't run a city based on entirely dead people.
No, I'm talking about the loyalists. We don't need them. Just turn them into zombies. I don't know if you would be cool with killing the families. Unless they're guilty.
I'm not killing the families. I'm keeping them alive, but I'm making their treatment worse if those loyalists start to become a fucking problem.
Okay.
Have the loyalists turn up dead.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
They'll be zombies sometime. No big deal. And yeah, I'm trying to think. Hold on, let me scroll down a bit.
Think faster.
As time sort of goes on and things sort of get to like a bit more adaptive, the phase contained. He makes like a courthouse, different places of worship for like all people of different walks of life. He tries to make a school connected to that library in Tulak for people to learn magic. However prosperous that school gets, he will try and spend a lot of his funds from the Dragon Horde on that. He also, I meant to say this at the beginning when he first comes into power, he sort of tries to equally disperse a lot of the spare funds to the people that were sort of left as refugees from our plights, if he can. He's going to save a lot of the magic items in sort of a safer storage. Probably in Nocturov, maybe not, who knows. But yeah, there's that. As people start to get more integrated and prejudice starts to become at a more low, he's going to introduce the concept of basically inviting people from different races into the inner circle of government. We basically have our own council. They decide things on a sort of democratic style, but it is still sort of like an empire or monarchistic type of thing. They decide a lot of like the legal schmeagle stuff. I am scrolling through this really fast because I need to find more things. As time sort of goes on and it gets to be an old man, he eventually tries to decide who will become his successor. But he also, the thought comes to him of Gideon and the promise that we made to each other to sort of fulfill. And he's going to sort of approach Eleanor in his old age. Older age, not completely old age, but I need to talk with you. A long time ago, Gideon...
In a galaxy far, far away?
Say that again?
In a galaxy far, far away?
In a galaxy far, far away. You need to stop.
She's been reading them books.
This
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
We're getting to that point.
I made a promise with Gideon to help him
With what?
with taking down his former associates, the Mind Flayers.
Okay.
It very well may go on for a long period of time. And if things get to a drastic head, I don't want to say this. I may have to make a choice. Would you be willing to wait for me?
What kind of waiting are we talking?
After. What? After. If I don't decide to go, will you wait for me?
Go where?
You know where.
I mean, I'll always wait for you, but how long will you be gone?
I don't know. Until the job is done. I don't know how long it will last, or if it may even lead to a success at all, but I have to fulfill my promise. It's the least I can do for the people that have gotten me this far. If that is too much for you, I understand, and I can always reject this plan entirely and face the consequences, but I wanted to tell it to you first.
I'll allow it. But if you die, I'll kill you.
I'm hoping for that. I deserve this much at that point.
Just have a glass of wine with me before you go.
Of course. And when it reaches that time where we're both sort of decaying in our own sort of way, we have our last moments together. Nice night of wine and talking, reminiscing. Before this, I want to try and distribute my forces, to try and survey the area in which the Mind Flayers were found, if they were already found or not by the Wraiths. I don't know how much information have I gotten of like the Mind Flayers' location, if they've progressed in any way.
The underground ones?
Yeah, the underground ones, and if they decided to like attack in any specific way.
They have been trying to bring down Tulso pretty aggressively. But have not made a lot of headway. We've heard there's rumors that people are being taken and brought beneath, or so. You get the sense maybe the tunnels have spread.
I sort of bring this. Well, if Gideon doesn't already have this knowledge, I bring this knowledge to Gideon and whichever people who know this want to fight, care to join me, and that fight will continue until we sort of reach this old age. And if Eleanor dies before me, I'll be faced with that choice. If things become dire, I will turn to Lichstone. But
Eleanor probably does go before you. You're with her to the end.
I leave. After a while, I leave my crown and whatever standing I had to each of my children and sort of disperse it amongst each individual city within the empire. I'm leaving Vivian to rule Agros if that's any settle with you, because I feel like she's the one who takes the most after her dad. So, yeah. The most ambitious of them, let's just say that. And he's going to basically go back to his old life as sort of a vagabond, in a sense. But before he leaves, if things become dire, he casts the ritual using the loyalist that he has. But I'll leave that up to you.
I think that is a story thread for another time.
Dude.
I hate you. I want to die with you, man. Why can't you just come die?
I gotta fulfill my promise.
Oh, fuck. I'm not ready now.
Tissue now.
Yep.
Oh.
This is it.
So, Osen. After the events with the Emperor, you're left with a far greater outcome than you might have been dreading.
Yeah.
You made it. Estrella made it. The only one to fall was Lucinda.
I think Osen is definitely really down about that. Definitely really down about that. But there's a lot going on, and Ambrose calls on everyone, and Jasper kind of goes MIA, and Elias goes MIA, and it's like, okay. So the first 6 months, Osen spends almost all of his time setting up a refugee medical camp in Agros to help displaced Empire townsfolk, because he's refinding that nurturing part of himself that I feel like he thinks that he lost during the Red Emperor battle. But it's coming back, and he's spending most of his time concentrating on healing people, and then he has Estrella kind of teleport, dimension door, the ones who are stable enough to leave to other outlying cities. So they're kind of moving them from the chaos and bloodshed and Feywild chaos of Agros into other cities where they can rebuild their lives, hopefully. And he'll definitely help Eleanor with setting up the orphanage. So we'll go to her and I'll say, so what are your plans?
We'll find as many children as we can and shove them in a house.
Okay.
Yes.
Remember, she has a son of intelligence.
I think it might take a little more, what's the word? Foreplay. No.
Jesus Christ.
No.
Preparation.
Foresight.
Force.
Then
What
that.
does foresight mean?
Estrella, What does
Does it
foresight
have to do with like forehead? Like you could have you have another eyeball?
Oh dear.
Anyways, let's just get some food, get some blankets, get some beds, and just have a bunch of children in the house.
Okay, I can do that.
I can heal them, I can cook for them, give them good kisses goodnight on their foreheads.
That sounds good. So the first 6 months are dedicated to that. Within the next 6 months after that, can there be a wedding maybe? Like an official one? They go back home to Avignon and they set Ehseara and Nastasio up for retirement completely. It's basically they walk into the house with like a sack of gold and they're like, here you go.
Oh, where did you get all this money?
From a dragon horde.
That sounds very dangerous.
Yes. And we do not elaborate on it any further.
They ask many questions.
Maybe in later years we'll
Yeah,
elaborate
many
on that.
questions.
But right now it's under wraps. So I spend, I think, 6 months freaking out to the rest of the Bloodhawks that are around. It's like, what do? I've never been married before.
So, as someone who's been married before, you need to have a reception, and a ceremony, you need to figure out what you're going to wear, what food you're going to serve, what flowers you're going to have as your decoration. Your thank you cards, your wedding gifts, and you need to have fun.
Okay. And I think I'll ask Lex if he wants to be the ring bearer.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Okay, that's great. We have them already. Are we supposed to get second separate ones? That feels expensive.
What was the question?
Second
What
one, separate.
was the question?
The engagement rings versus wedding rings. Ozen is confused. Why do you need two? Why not just one?
I don't know. It's I guess it's just a weird thing people do. I'm fine with this one.
This one feels the most important.
I mean, we've had it for a lot longer. I feel a little weird putting a new one on.
So, I guess I get married to Estrella, and I think it's going to be on the beach in Tulsa. And he'll get really upset about sand in his shoes.
Oh, dude.
But that's okay, because I'll carry him.
Dude.
Jasper's there, but you never see her.
I don't see her, but, you know,
She's
there's
there.
probably a petrified flower for me
There
somewhere.
definitely is.
Yeah, so I do that. And I go back to Agros after that with Estrella to keep up with the refugee medical camp. And then I think when Osen is around 28, he'll ask Eleanor to true resurrection bomb because he's taken the rest of his levels in Tempest Cleric for Mindy. He kind of thinks about what he feels about magic and how he feels about helping people, and I think he feels like Tempest Clericdom is the right path for him for the rest of this.
That makes sense.
And it's
Fucking
also
chaos
chaotic. So he takes that too. And so if Eleanor will resurrect Bomb, please, we'll have that chaos gremlin back. Which means Osen also forgoes living 10,000 years. And he's going to live for 1,000 instead. Which is still a lot. But less than you guys were expecting. When he's 30, he's going to, after very many long talks with Estrella, most of which start with Osen looking at a baby and then looking at Estrella with like big eyes. It's like, I think you'd be a really good dad.
I think I would be an adequate dad.
I think you'd be great.
I think I would be okay.
You're very nurturing.
I'm very sheltered.
So am I. I lived in the woods for 13 years.
So we're gonna put more children just in the woods?
No.
Is that what we're gonna do?
No. Can I persuade this man to adopt children with me?
You'll adopt a human with you.
He'll
The
adopt a
number is
human.
the persuasion roll.
4. Over the course of 30 to 45.
Make a persuasion check.
8.
Plus anything?
I think 1. So like 9. He gives like his best little.
He eventually stops at 3.
Oh, which one do I get rid of?
Why did you do this, Kenny?
You gotta destroy one of your children.
Why
Okay.
did you do that?
That's okay. This is fine. So then when they're 30, they adopt a satyr baby named Rory, Revna, for a raven. And so they ask Gideon to be her godfather because I think they've started inviting Gideon to like mock book clubs, you know. They have mock book clubs and Gideon's included in them. And her name's Rory.
My foot being like, so Catcher in the Rye.
No way. And she grows up to be a bard, and she eventually takes Xylo on all her adventures with her, and they go around singing about TARDIS hate. That's her favorite song. Except the iteration now is more of like, fuck you, TARDIS hate, you fucking dickhead. Just very, a little brash, a little too much for Estrella's nerves, but like, she's sweet. The second kid they adopt, when they're 40, Ehseara, I think, has died around this point, when they're like 38. So they adopt a halfling baby, and her name is Ehseara Celeste, and she becomes a Circle of Stars druid.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what that noise was.
Jeff just goes,
Mr. Jingles?
is Mr. Jingle still alive?
Oh, great.
I know Patch is gone by now.
Patch is very dead. How many years has it been?
From here to math, guys, give me a second. Oh my god.
Book club, buddy.
You are in a book club, you're included.
How many kids are you adopting? Are you?
This has been 14 years by now.
I think it's just.
I think it's
So
three.
yeah.
So, what happens is, you eventually find Mr. Jingles in a pile of refuse
In his own shit?
and is died in the most upsetting way.
Like my cat.
God.
Alright, so Mr. Jingles goes out in style like Lola. Rest in peace, Lola.
Really?
So, Ehseara, I think her godfather is going to be Phantomius, if Phantomius will accept.
I accept. I'm sorry. I thought I was muted, but I wasn't.
You're okay. Do you
You've
want to
been
be
unmuted the whole time.
Osen's second daughter's godfather?
Yeah, I said I accept.
Cool. So then Phantomius is. And when they're 45, they adopt their last kid. Is a Triton named Loki. And he's gonna be a swashbuckler rogue sailor because he takes one look at Lex the minute he meets him. He's like, I want to be like you when I grow up.
The manliest, just like back here, the manliest of man tears.
And he is an absolute shitbird. This kid. He's gonna grow up and he's gonna begin his own sailor's crew and he's gonna have a ship and it's gonna be named the Star Sailor. And I think that during this time, I know Estrella wants to open an art museum. So I'm gonna help Estrella open his art museum and we're gonna make it double as also a garden center. So there's like a garden grounds in the back of it, and then the rest of it is just like a lot of good, really nice paintings. I don't think they get any revenue from it. They're kind of set for life. So it's just for people's enjoyment at this point. And Osin upkeeps it.
I think Estrella does eventually. He gets a lot of very interested people in his work. He's actually a very, very successful painter.
Good. Awesome. And so Osin spends most of his adult life like, this is my husband, look at him, he's so great. Everybody, what did you do? Oh, I killed a dragon one time. Look at his paintings. So good.
Look at the paintings.
The kids all visit Uncle Baum a lot. How is Uncle Baum doing?
Uncle Baum is reeling with dying and then coming back to life very viciously. He has rebuilt his cabin and has taken much of the hoard that he lost, but just some of it. And I think he spends most of his time in the Fae, and at some points, unbeknownst to anyone, he just disappears.
I leave a stuffed snake at his house. I do. Yeah, but Osin will hang out with all you guys during that time. If he's allowed, he'll go on his trip with Lex.
Fucking all the time, every day.
Yes,
every day.
and he
every
goes
day.
on the murder spree with Helias that one time that they never talk about again. Osin and Estrella walk home like, alright, this is it for adventuring. That's over for us.
Oh yeah, I invited you guys for some prom.
Monthly book club, you are like, Gideon becomes like an unofficial brother-in-law. And, you know, Jasper kind of becomes like a god aunt because Jasper rolls around sometimes, right?
Bring your kids drugs. Not bad. Hardcore drugs. Jesus. I just take some of Osin's growery weed that he's been growing behind the house.
Occasionally.
No, it's like lighter theft.
To the
lighter
chagrin of Eleanor and Emberos, we teleport into your basement and leave paint smatters on the wall every single time. And we always come over for tea, and we have tea and crumpets and whatever else the hell you have at tea time. It's yes. Charcuterie. Steak. Yes. And also, I wanted to add, I will also take the kids to the drop occasionally, not putting them in the drop at first, unless they want to go in it at some point. I'll take the kids. They can train with Frothy and Lex and maybe Helias, Silvath. Estrella will not let the kids touch a single gun, ever.
Still only have the one.
Yeah,
It's
just
not
the one.
really that big a thing.
But he looks at him, he's like, no. The rest of the weapons, you're fine to train the kids in.
Except we get
They have little mock wooden swords. They run around the house with wood. There's more broken things on the floor in their house than anything else, but they love it. They also have 4 cats. They have stupid fucking names. I love them all. They're named Clover. They're named Willow, Baby Bell, and Socks.
Socks.
Socks have socks.
Yeah, like little mittens.
Socks with little baby socks.
Actually, he has little mittens, fur, and that's it. The rest of he's a Sphinx cat. The rest
Oh no! I hate sphinxes. Dude,
That's
I hate
Estrella's
sphinx.
favorite cat. I know. That's the one. The
God damn it.
So, Osen.
Wait, and they have 2 dogs, and they're named Baloo and Arno, and Baloo
They
is
go quick.
like a massive dog.
In your time frame, they're there and gone.
Arno with a Chihuahua.
Chihuahuas live for like 20 years.
Yeah, they can.
They're annoying as
That
fuck.
one stays around for
Very
a while.
Short-lived. So,
And I don't know what travesty you're going to commit against me next, but
Osen.
ow.
Here you go.
It's only 8 minutes.
Over time,
8 minutes.
you watch Estrella get older and older. And you barely age. Still a few bits of age showing in you, but not many. But you watch Estrella begin to just get older, and eventually his body starts to fail him. He eventually is able to, through the period of a year, is able to finally struggle through his very last painting. And eventually he passes away. What do you
and
do?
When is that around?
That's around your 100th year. What do you do for the next 900 years of your life? Is there anything in particular, or would you like to pass it to me?
Anything in particular? I mean, I think he probably goes back to Agros and continues to help people as both a cleric and a druid with his +10 in medicine checks, and kind of becomes like a field medic almost. Like, combat still pops up and people still fight, so like from time to time he'll join an adventuring group and like heal.
You join the smallest of adventuring groups, and then you
The
just
ones that look a little shy.
you're sitting in the back waiting as they're all going down. You murder the creature that's there and make sure everybody is not dead anymore.
And I give them credit for it.
Participation awards.
Bolster
are
everyone's
a winner.
reputation.
You are a
Everyone
winner.
gets participation trophies.
You sit in the back and pretend like you're an old decrepit old man, and then
Yeah.
you're just like, you're doing great!
He's like a silver fox. He's just got a couple of the gray streaks on his side. Everyone's like,
Oh no.
no, thank you.
But Osen, with your final years encroaching on you,
He also fosters a bunch of kids.
of course,
You have an army.
Army of children.
we'll leave off on this note.
Last words. If you'll give them to me.
Please, please, they're so heartbreaking.
Osen, you stand within the home that you live with Estrella in, and just stare out. What is the view from your home?
I think it's probably by the ocean. So, in the way that a cat that knows it is hurt is wont to do, I think he'll walk out the door and probably walk towards a secluded place on the beach and just, I say, sit and talk to himself. Because he's an old man and he's been talking to himself recently. And he says, verbatim, I have loved quietly and I have loved softly, but this love has been the loudest of all. It's the one I have for my home. Ehseara. He looks up across the ocean. Whoever's listening says, take care of it for us.
close. As you stare out at the
Fuck you.
ocean in front of you, there's one last thought crosses your mind. That image, that last painting, Stromae. You feel yourself pulled to a better time. Maybe 20, 30 years after you all disbanded, there's a day we all met in a tavern. You remember each and every one of you, after a long time, finally getting back together after all your lives have gone in many different directions. But for most of you, you're content where you are. You've lived very good lives, and we're excited to see where the rest of your life would take you, what legacies you leave behind. And thinking back on that, you smile in contentment as you remember that last day where you all met in a tavern and raised your glasses to the Bloodhawks. And then let's run our campaign.
And then Ambrose bursts through the door and says, "Sorry I'm late, guys."
So let me get this straight.
Stop. Wait, don't end
stop
it.
it yet.
Don't end it yet.
I'm sorry.
I love you.
God damn it, you did.
Shit.
Oh, what a crew. What a crew.
Oh, you were the loves of his life.
Thank you, whoever listened
Yes,
to all of this shit.
Thank you.